everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kita Marie and there's something I am incredibly bad at and I want to be better. It's meal prepping. I suck at meal prepping. I'm in an awful routine where I have to grocery shop every single day to put together a meal, and that is just simply not gonna do. We're meal prepping today. Hey, we're gonna do my favorite go-to everyday dishes. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated, just food that I can pair with many different things, sides, garnishes, and proteins. And then it's gonna be versatile and fantastic, and I'm excited for it. Also, it seems like food prep is kind of going viral right now with the specific silicone containers. You sort of make the little, almost like a little Lego, make your own dinner kind of thing. I don't have those containers. I don't intend on buying them, but we're just gonna freeze in the stuff that I already have, and we're gonna see how that goes. Let's get started. So the first thing we're prepping is tofu, and I actually wanted to make this recipe for the tofu guide that I'm also working on, but this is also food prep related, so you're getting it now. I'm cutting a firm tofu into strips. This tofu is marinated and infused with ginger, and honestly I love tofus that have flavor embedded into them. It's sort of like a helping hand in terms of flavor intensity. So I'm cutting them into strips like this, and then we're going to make a batter and a panko breadcrumb mix. To make our breading, we're using flour, sugar, salt, onion powder, a mix of different other spices, paprika, different stuff here. I got a mix, that's what I'm using. And cornstarch, oat milk, and panko crumbs. I'll link some reference recipes down below for all these recipes that I'm making, but the batter consistency here should be like a pancake batter. So just work with it until you get to that consistency. Then I dedicate one hand to the batter and one hand to breadcrumbs to avoid this becoming any more messy than it needs to be. You can double coat that, you can double coat them if you're into it, but I decided not to do that since the coating was actually really nice and thick here. Okay, our tofu is battered and ready to be deep fried. Let's go do that. And then we're frying them in the oil. This oil was about 165 degrees Celsius, which is about 330 Fahrenheit. And then I just kept an eye on them until they were golden and crispy. And look how they turned out. Now this is fucking amazing. If you like chicken nuggets or katsu, anything battered or fried and breaded, you're gonna love this. This is bang on. Amazing. Fantastic. No notes. And not everything can be in the most aesthetic container. And today it is what it is. However, I feel like it's quite satisfying how all these tofu bits fit perfectly into my little container. My idea is here that I can just pop this in the freezer like this with a lid when it's completely cooled down, and then I can just take one out if I need it. I can reheat it in the air fryer, in the oven. I can use them in sandwiches. I can use them as a side with rice and my curry sauce. Next up is my favorite easy curry sauce or soup. Whatever I pair it with determines what it is, I guess. This is a bit of a bastard child, or a mix between many different curries I've had in different places, where I've taken inspiration from different aspects of all these dishes and just combining them into something that I like. I cut onions and carrots and potatoes and garlic. It doesn't need to be pretty, so I'm not super focused on even sizes or anything here. And then I start by adding the onion to a pot on medium heat with some oil. And once they're soft, I add in the curry to roast it. This gives the dish a much more balanced flavor, and it opens the curry so we get its full potential. And then I add water and garlic and the rest of the veggies and some coconut milk, which in this case was very firm and creamy, not milky at all, but it was really nice. And then I let it simmer until the veggies were soft. My curry has been boiling for about half an hour, 40 minutes, and we need to add the final touches before it's done and I can put it into the containers it deserves. First of all, we need to add some more protein. Protein of choice, lentils. I would have used dry ones, but I don't have any. I didn't buy any. I had this. The dried ones work better, but then you have to add it when you add the potatoes. And at this point, because these are already pretty much ready to go, I'm just gonna add it as the last thing. Okay, there we have them. And then we're gonna add some heat to it as well. This is and will always be my preferred garlic and ghillie. Cool, chili and garlic. So we get a more interesting flavor overall. It's not just one-dimensional. We're just gonna add the last bits in here. This is the tasting spoon, apparently. Okay. Nice, more salt. Ooh. We're gonna let this cool now, and we're gonna transfer it into some smaller containers. They're still a little bit warm, so I'm gonna wait until they're cool before we put them in the freezer, some in the fridge. If you're intimidated by putting glass in the freezer, here's how I do it. Rule number 1, temperature. Let it cool. Glass can get a temperature shock. So if you take something that's really cold and put it into something that's warm, if you take something that's warm and put it into something that's cold, it's gonna crack. Or there is a distinct possibility that it's going to crack. So I wait until my food is colder, not cold, but room temp. And when you fill it up, you don't fill it all the way. We're not being greedy. Leave about 2 fingers-ish, 2-3 fingers-ish worth of space on top, because the liquid, when it freezes, it's gonna expand. And when it expands beyond the glass capacity, it breaks. Food prep tower. Now, full disclaimer, I actually wanted to do a red pasta sauce as well, but the light is it's not on my side today, so we're gonna postpone the pasta sauce and make that tomorrow. See you tomorrow. This is how I enjoyed the curry later in the week, with the tofu bites and some spring rolls I also had in the freezer. I got some rice and a salad, and this was banging. I love how I had the time now to make these additional elements instead of the main thing, which was already taken care of, and made the whole cooking process so much simpler and also more playful. I got to prioritize making this sauce, for instance, which was so good. A mix of soy and chili and sesame and rice wine vinegar, and it was just perfect. If anything, this shows that I'm not using meal prepping to cut down on cooking time, really, just redirecting that time so I get to experiment with other things in the kitchen. Okay, so yesterday I froze the leftover rice, so we're gonna have to take them out and transfer them into another container, which is gonna be easy now that they're frozen as well. And honestly, I've been a little bit on the fence about whether or not I should do the starch-based parts of the meal. Rice I feel like is okay, but if there's one thing I literally cannot stand, it is leftover pasta, both if it's been in the fridge overnight or if it's been in the freezer. Even worse, it sort of breaks down the flexibility of the gluten and makes it fall apart completely, and I cannot imagine something with a worse mouthfeel. So what I'm just doing instead is that I'm making new pasta every time I need to use it, and that's okay on my end. That doesn't have to be as optimized as it possibly can be, specifically because it comes at the detriment of my well-being. It's just no thank you. Rice might be okay. Voila. Okay, now this is ready to pop right back into the freezer, and I'll use it whenever I'm ready. And we are continuing the quest of the food prep, and today I'm going to make one of my most used, most eaten, most enjoyed recipes. We're making a versatile red sauce that you can use for pastas, in lasagna, whatever you want to use it for. I'm using it as a substitute for a bolognese. I make this basically every week, but my big mistake here is that I make it for 1 or 2 nights, and today we are making so much of it today, and we are packing so many vegetables in this that it's not even funny. Let me show you what's in it. These are the basics. So we have red pepper, squash, onion, we have garlic and carrots, we have red lentils, vegetable protein, spinach, tomato paste, olive oil, and dried oregano. And then, we're also gonna have live salt and pepper, perhaps some chili flakes. The first thing we're doing for this sauce is roasting the red pepper. I want it charred and full of flavor, so I'm cutting the pepper and adding them to a tray to go into the oven for 20-ish minutes on 180 degrees Celsius. Now, the rest of the veggies are chopped in a fashion that can only be described as incredibly half-assed, because we're going to blend everything together into smooth sauce later, so what's the point of cutting it nicely here? I don't know. Then I'm drenching all the veggies in olive oil and salt and pepper before adding it to a pot. It's also here realized that I could have just added it to the pot right away instead of using this tray as the middleman, but it's too late now. Then I simmer everything for 10-ish minutes to soften the veggies. Then we're adding the roasted pepper and tomato puree, then mixing everything together. Then 2 cartons of tomato sauce and the same amount of water goes in, oregano, the spinach and lentils, and then we're placing it back on the stove for at least 30 minutes with the lid on low heat, just with a slight bubble. Obviously, the sauce is going to be protein packed as well, and this is the plant-based protein that I'm using other than the lentil. These are from Plant Made. It's a textured vegetable protein made from sunflower seed flour, bean flour, and pea protein. No soy. Not that soy protein is bad at all. I love it, and I use it a lot, to the point where I often get requests to talk about and include other types of proteins for the people that are allergic to soy. So for the minced meaty part of the dish, we have to rehydrate these pellets. So I drench them in water for about 10 minutes, then strain them and add in my spice mix. You want to be generous here, lots of flavor is needed. I'm using a mix of onion powder, garlic powder, salt, smoked paprika, bacon bouillon, dried herbs, and black pepper. And I mix it all in a pan with plenty of vegetable oil to let it crisp up while stirring it on and off. And while we are turning this dry food into crispy, meaty bites, the sauce is just about done and ready to be blended. I blend it because I like the smooth texture. I think it's more versatile this way, and I enjoy it way more. But if you like chunky sauce, no judgment, just go for that then. This took about 5 minutes to get it completely smooth, and look how nice it turned out. Lastly, I'm adding in the protein and we're done. And look how amazing, and look how gorgeous. Absolutely fantastic. Now I have sauce. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sauces in different sizes. I think these are just gonna be super great if I'm just by myself having lunch. I wrote what it is and the date on one of them, so that must count for something. I'm proud of myself. Now these have to cool once again, be tempered before I put them into the freezer. And these are versatile as well, I reckon. So I can add chili or nutmeg or basil, more herbs of any kind if I want to the individual portions when I reheat them. Good old pasta sauce and plenty of it. Here's everything in the freezer, nice and organized, and this is how I used the sauce that same night. Just plain pasta, but with plenty of nutrients and veggies hidden inside the sauce. Even though it took effort to make the sauce, the dish here feels really low effort without compromising on nutrition and on flavor, obviously. Another day, another leftover meal. This is what I'm having for lunch today. We still have some of the tofu bites that I defrosted for the dinner the other day. I got 3 cubes of rice out of the freezer and reheated those, a little bit of the sauce and some fresh greens. And this is my lunch. I have so much to do today, so this is fantastic and super easy. And that is everything for this video. I feel like I learned a lot about how I can combat some of these bad habits I have. I definitely still have a long way to go when it comes to being prepared for everyday dinners, not overcomplicating everything and not shopping every single day when I have food at home. But this is a really good step in the right direction, I reckon. I am so happy with the result of this food prep. And where sometimes, you know, you can feel kind of meh about having leftovers, I am so excited for all these dinners and what I'm gonna make with them. Let me know down below if you have tried food prepping, what kind of dishes you prefer. Give me some inspiration. Is there anything that you're doing that you think I should try too? And is there any improvement to what you saw I did that you think I would benefit from knowing about? Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day and see you guys next time. Take really good care of yourselves. Until then.